Welcome everybody to the part 2 intro of the Huber Rebels podcast, which I'm doing because Jordan already did the first intro, but we lost his audio, so I'm introing it. My name is Ethan.
My name is Jordan. And we're talking about the PlayStation 5 controller. And I'm so annoyed right now that I didn't get my audio for, I don't know, we've been talking for a good 25 minutes or so at least. And I'm going to try and edit it in a way that makes sense, because I feel like we got a lot of good, genuine commentary on that without having to, force it a second time. So bear with me. I'm going to try and edit it a little bit and re-record some stuff, and we're just going to jump right back into where we were.
We were only about a paragraph in, so I'm going to just pick back up. We're just getting into the new DualSense controller.
Yes. All right, let's continue. Where were we?
So PlayStation dropped a blog post today out of nowhere. I was like, I don't think I've been on N4G today. That's where I go for breaking news. It usually stuff flies up the top of that, and it has breaking game news on there. And the top one was a very official looking controller, and I saw PlayStation and controller, and I'm thinking, oh wait, what? Oh, is this concept art? Is this leak? Is this rumor? I immediately have to orient myself. And I was like, oh my God, this is official. blog.us.playstation.com. Oh my God. Introducing DualSense. I love it. Initial reaction. The new wireless game controller for PlayStation 5. I'm so excited. You know why? Because it's not just the DualShock 4. Because it's not the DualShock 4. This is a hybrid kind of design, but it's more DualShock, in my opinion, because the key construction to a DualShock is the analog placement, the D-pad placement, and the icon button placement. That is the major difference between an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller. Just so you know, people have done overlays. It's about the same. So this thing isn't huge. So we've reached an exciting milestone with PlayStation 5 as we're starting to ship our new controller in its final design. Do you want me to read this or no? Okay, apologies. Let me redo that. So they're starting to ship our new controller in its final design to developers who are implementing its unique features into their games. But first, we wanted everyone in the PlayStation community to get a first look at the DualSense wireless controller and hear our vision for how the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with the virtual worlds in PS5 games. The features of DualSense, along with the PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. When PS4 launched in 2013, the DualShock 4 wireless controller garnered a lot of positive feedback from gamers and developers for being the best PlayStation controller yet, and for introducing forward-looking features like the share button. This brought us to the next question. How do we build upon that success? After thoughtful consideration, we decided to keep much of what gamers love about DualShock 4 intact, while also adding new functionality and refining the design. Based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus for many games. We had a great opportunity with PS5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion through our new controller. This is why we adopted haptic feedback, which adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. We also incorporated adaptive triggers into the L2 and R2 buttons of DualSense so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. I want to pause because that's a lot of stuff to unwrap. We should probably talk about it a little bit before. But just to talk about this a little, the haptic feedback, I don't think people understand what this is going to do. And it's something I think about when I play games is how can this be better? I've always felt that way. I literally, every year, for a while, I haven't been doing this recently, but it would be, I'd buy the new 2K, day 3, sometimes hour 3, God, sometimes minute 3. I'm like, okay, how can this be better next year? It varies, but so the reason I was going to say is because I follow from first announcement, every blog post, like I understand everything they've improved, and I'm already like, okay, what's the next evolution? What can they now iterate on? They have to go work it for a year, right, and actually create it. But my mind is already like, what's the thing? And I'm playing, and this like controller in your hand, you can't touch the game. It's like this like intangible thing where like you pick something up and it just doesn't. It's just like you push a button and an animation. You can see where it's going, and it's gonna be this feeling of like, am I in the TV? Because it's like your eyes and your brain will bridge that gap. 20 years ago, you get lost in a video game. Now, between just this with a regular controller, the 3D audio, and whatever the hell they're going to do with PSVR 2, which definitely lines up with all of this. It's a holistic vision. I'm a year from now, when we started to dream up the PSVR 2, we tandem with the PS5 in development, and how this immersion and a 3D, it's all going to be the same stuff. This was all hand in hand to all go together. They are setting the platform for the future of video games, and something as simple as you feel your car drive through mud sounds like it's a sentence you read on a web page right now. 6 months from now, 10 months from now, whatever it is, when we're actually playing this, people are going to be like, what was it even like before? You'll pick up a DualShock 4 and you'll be didn't feel it. The way I imagine it is like a smooth haptic feeling, and then all of a sudden a slightly slower, more tense haptic feeling, and then it kind of tenses up. Imagine if you were driving your car and you had your hands on the steering and you drove through mud, and that thickness, that's what I imagine the controller. The steering wheel I bought years ago, how it gave you that extra like connection to the game. I imagine this being similar to that, but honestly probably feeling better, because it's going to be more baked in. One of the main reasons, like I pre-ordered a PSVR. It was $550. I decided that was money I didn't want to spend into that, because after demoing it and like realizing what VR could be, like, oh, this is game changer. But researching and realizing it wasn't to the fidelity that I was willing to pay, especially for that money. One of the factors there was the fact that the dedicated VR control for the PSVR 1 for PS4 are PlayStation 3 Move controllers created to mimic the Wii. We were talking about drawing a bow to shoot an arrow.
Yes.
From the triggers. Okay. This provided us with an exciting challenge to design a new controller that built the current generation while taking into account the new features we were adding. For example, with adaptive triggers, we had to consider how the components would fit into the hardware without giving it a bulky feeling. Our design team worked closely with our hardware engineers to place the triggers and actuators. The designers were then able to draw the lines of how the exterior of the controller would look and feel, with a challenge of making the controller feel smaller than it really looks. In the end, we changed the angle of the hand triggers and also made some subtle updates to the grip. We also took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense's rechargeable battery and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible as new features were added. So, just about the shape of it. So I had heard this about the patents and before people, maybe it was in actually, but they were talking about how they made this controller where people with smaller hands can use it, but people with bigger hands, it doesn't affect them anymore. So it fits a wider range of hands.
Right.
I know I did that. I did
a
it
ranger
backwards.
wide.
A ranger wide of hands, a wider range of hands, but like doesn't really affect the people already.
Right.
So this is really like the ultimate culmination of DualShock and PlayStation controller.
So, but like, what's the idea that the current controller is too big or too small?
Neither. It's just the shape.
Okay.
That they can tweak it to make it work better with more people.
Okay.
Like, because they're really not changing it that much. They're just changing some of the bones and the structure to just make it fit. Because there is an ideal ergonomic shape.
Right.
And this is like, I think, and a lot of people have already been posting this, a mixture between the DualShock controller. But it's not an Xbox controller.
Right.
At the same time. It's going to feel so good. I'm not even worried. You're going to put that in your hand and you're just going to go, oh my God.
I'm not worried at all. I think it looks cool.
Look at the Switch Pro controller. It's a similar design. And I think this will be even better.
Right. Quick question before we proceed. Which part of this do you think will change color for the variation in color of controllers? The white?
All of it. The white and this is going to be
a different combo.
This is going to be one of the best looking limited edition and customizable color controllers.
Do you think they'll do what they're doing with Xbox controllers, where you can like customize them and like have your own I hope so too. I think that'd be sweet.
I've always wanted them to do that.
Because even with the current the DualShock 4s, like they don't have customizable controllers, and the cool colors that they do have are all gone. You can't buy them.
Really?
They're like completely unavailable. So
yeah, it's been tricky.
I would like to have a nice selection of colors for this thing. I like the lights under the touchpad.
This design is next level. Like next level design. The what and what?
I was gonna say, and the light bar's gone.
That's the light bar.
Like it acts as a VR thing?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
For the buttons, this is continuing on. For the buttons, you'll notice there is no longer a share button, as we had with DualShock 4. Don't worry, it's not going away.
Bless you, Maya.
In fact, we've built upon the success of our industry first share button. Love that. To bring you a new create button feature. With Create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world or just to enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature as we get closer to launch. Love it. Love it. I was like, how do you evolve the share button? Like, share is such a specific concept that we didn't have before that is now established. Nintendo added the capture button. Xbox just announced that they're adding a share button for the Series X controller, and
a whole
PlayStation
generation
is now evolving
behind.
it to their that is not. No, the way I said that is not section on Xbox.
I know. I'm not at all.
Sure the functionality will be the same.
The Series X will be great.
Yeah. So Sony very much was industry first here. I also learned apparently you can't suspend a game on Xbox One.
Really? Like you can't go to the home menu?
I think you can do that, but you can't turn the system off with the game paused.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure out if that's possible or not.
Right.
Regardless, create button sounds amazing because that implies so many more things. You can lump so many things into that, where you're saving videos, but you're also creating special clips and uploading those. Like it includes share.
I can't wait for it to all work so much better and quicker. Because I still use that broadcast feature quite a bit, and it's
amazing.
But it's getting so sluggish, and it's and it doesn't always work very well.
Nope.
And it's like kind of buggy. Like sometimes when you enter the game, it says gameplay paused, and then when you suspend it to go to something that you're not allowed to broadcast, it says broadcast resumed. You're like, that's backwards. So it doesn't seem fully like they gave all their attention to it, but it's there.
No, it was incredible for when it came.
Definitely,
things have evolved rapidly in that area, and I believe that the PS5 will be very prepared for that.
Yeah.
So, adding on to that, Another thing the DualShock 4 did that was amazing was the mic jack, right? Game changer.
Yep.
Such a small little thing. Remember when these used to work seamlessly? That's great. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array, which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset, ideal for jumping into a quick conversation. But of course, if you're planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have that headset handy. This is a game changer. Everyone has a mic. Done. Like,
because
not even a thing that you have to plug in, but just like, nobody will ever be playing a PlayStation game and not a PlayStation 5 game and not be able to voice chat or give voice commands.
Right.
Because it's baked in.
Right. Now, that button below the PlayStation, do you think that's a mute button? A mute toggle?
Apparently, it is a mic off button. Yes.
Because there needs to be an easy button for that.
So apparently, it's not even an easy button. It's a hardware button for them not being able to listen to you. I think it's going to be literally like the mic is
disconnected. Yeah, good.
Which will serve two purposes of muting and also
privacy.
Privacy, yeah.
Because like I wouldn't want it to be a software thing where I have to like go to a certain menu to mute my controller. You know, like I want to push a button to mute my controller because I don't want to talk to people. But I do also like that no one has an excuse. If you're playing a battle royale and you're in your team, everyone's talking because everyone has a mic.
I mean, this could be really, really exciting.
Yeah.
So it says, now let's talk about the colors. Traditionally, our base controllers have a single color. As you can see, we went a different direction this time around and decided on a two-toned design. Additionally, we changed the position of the light bar that will give it an extra pop. On DualShock 4, it sat on the top of the controller. Now it sits at each side of the touchpad, giving it a slightly larger look and feel. In all, we went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before we settled on this final design. DualSense has been tested by a wide range of gamers with a variety of hand sizes in order for us to achieve the comfort level we wanted with great ergonomics. Our goal with DualSense is to give gamers the feeling of being transported into the game world as soon as they open the box. We want gamers to feel like the controller is an extension of themselves when they're playing, so much so that they forget that it's even in their hands.
Nice.
We're thrilled about sharing the final look of the DualSense controller with our fans, and we can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it. So, just to add to that sentiment, when I've been dreaming about the PS5, when I'm thinking about using the PS5, when I'm imagining that moment, sitting down, playing God of War, whatever it may be, I'm thinking about that controller. Ever since that Wired article, I'm thinking about the ability to obviously click a button, it's on, and boom. But that's gone then. Like, largely, that's like a moment here and there.
Right.
And the game design will change, and that will be amazing. But, like, at the end of the day, the thing that's... You're holding that controller every second you're interacting with that system. And this jump in controller tech is the most exciting thing for me. And they saved this because this is a big... And I think sitting down and playing a game is going to just baseline feel very different on it.
That's the thing, like, we don't even really know that much about it yet. Like, this article doesn't really say that much. It hits the pinpoints of, like, what they want this controller to be, but they're not diving into anything, and it's still very exciting.
Yeah.
To know, like, what they're going to evolve and, like, make better about gaming in the future.
And this was, I wanted to lead into Sony's silence here. Like, they've got something. They dropped this. That's impressive. That's that's dedicated to the controller. This is going to blow up the internet all day tomorrow. That's all anybody's going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Is this new controller? Current rumors I'm hearing is we're going to get a bigger reveal, PS5 reveal by the end of apologies. But we'll see. It might be June. It might be everything's up in the air at this point. But bring it on! I'm excited.
It's exciting. Very exciting.
It's gonna be good, dude. This is more than just a power upgrade. This is more than just the biggest, fastest console ever. This is like, how do we change how you think about video games?
Yeah. Right.
In the best way. I'm excited.
And remember video games too. Like, this will... this will deepen your memory of games too.
Yeah.
When you are that interactive with it, and when you can like feel it that much, it'll almost be like a dream or something. It's like I was there, like that happened.
Dreams.
Yeah.
PSVR 2 Dreams, PS5. Are you kidding me? Like what are we going to be talking about 5 years from now?
It's exciting. It's
scary
it's
at the
scary
same
in an
time.
exciting way. Yeah.
This is never. I don't like. I was thinking about this a lot. I felt very good about the PS4 very early. I had like this gut feeling of what the system was going to be, and it felt like kind of like bringing everything together and kind of being like,
Here we
this is
are.
where we are.
Right.
This is the pinnacle of everything we've done. Video game. You take a guy and you move him and you're there. It's just a basic concept and let's get everybody here. Let's get it easy. Let's get online, streamlined, everything. And this feels like an opportunity
Moving forwards.
to really. I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was like, okay, now we just increase resolution. Because everybody said during this generation, like, games don't need to look better. Like, we've reached this point where they just look incredible. You haven't played God of War yet.
I
You're
know.
playing Horizon
Right.
now. Like,
Right.
you're seeing, like, just this baseline level of quality that's just ridiculous.
Right.
And, like, what the hell is the next system going to be? And this includes for Xbox. Like, looking at what, like, Microsoft Flight Simulator is they're creating Earth. Oh, just Earth. Just the entire Earth.
No big deal.
And, live weather. Just actual weather that's happening everywhere. And like, oh, you want to go fly to your house? Yeah, you can go see your house, your actual house on the planet.
Right.
They announced a new thing. Full multiplayer. The entire Earth is just fully seamless multiplayer.
For Flight Simulator?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. And on top of that, every single real flight that exists live simulated in the world.
So there will be planes in the
real
sky
time.
that are real-time actual
Yep.
flights.
Yep. And if they lose connection with the signal, the AI will take over, keep the plane going until it reconnects.
That's insane. So my only question to that is, how do you slot yourself in somewhere where you don't fit, maybe? Like, if there's actual flights coming in and out of LAX over and over and over again, how do you slot yourself in there?
I'm sure you'll have the option to, like, I'm sure that'll all be worked in there.
Or do you take over, like, the next flight that's taken off?
Probably another option.
That's really cool.
like, who knows? But like this game
Deactivate this one and let me do it.
Yeah, like let me take over the AI of this interaction.
I
Like,
love that.
Yeah, dude. This next generation is gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. Like,
And that's a
I'm
console
very
game?
excited. Yeah, it's a PC game, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on Series X as well.
Interesting.
I'm so excited. That's the Halo Infinite and Flight Simulator are the
Yeah.
two games I'm most excited for Series X.
That's really cool. Yeah,
You
flight
know, and-
simulators are fun.
I think we're in the best place. PS5 is pushing this. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. The exclusives, all of this crazy, weird wizard science. Microsoft is just straight up like, we're gonna just make the beastest machine ever, like with our skills, and it does all this crazy backwards compatibility tech,
Right.
like all this crazy stuff.
I love this battle. I mean, this is what, like, the
It's not a battle.
or
Well,
no, but you know what I mean. Like, it's
Yeah,
competition
so-
between brands. Like, they're making
Yeah.
each other step their game up.
yes.
And even within the same console, I feel like next Microsoft has to come out with some like big announcement that's like, okay, well, but here's what we're doing that's crazy. And then just by the time we get to these consoles coming out, whenever that may be, I feel like it's just gonna be so epic.
So, I hate to do this because I don't want to sound like a fanboy.
Yeah.
My theory is that Microsoft already.
Blew there.
I was gonna say it, and I literally that.
I
was-
heard Greg
I
say it.
And
Or no, I think I heard
didn't
Blessing say it.
Did they really?
I think, yeah.
So it feels like Microsoft is taking advantage of a silence. Let's show the console. Boom! Everybody's hyped for this. But boom! Let's talk about all the features.
But
This
they
is
did that
amazing.
in
Boom,
December.
This is how. No, but each thing has been growing. Boom! Here's the specs. Look how this better. It's more powerful than the PS.
Right.
And everything I'm seeing from Sony is...
You go ahead and do that.
Here's some Wired articles. This thing is insane. This thing's fast. We're very proud about this. We've been working about this very very hard. This SSD, it's insane. Then Microsoft does all this stuff. Then they put this weird as hell GDC presentation out. You know, teraflops are lower than the Series X. You know, the Series X just announced that it was 12 teraflops. Now the PS5 is 10 teraflops. Everybody's like, it's fail. It's fail. It's dead on arrival. It's weaker. It's not as good. But if you really listened to that Mark Cerny presentation,
yeah,
there was more to it. And I'm starting to see a few developers have started to speak out. The PS5, I think, in a weird way, will be more powerful.
Like actually technically number-wise, or just in terms of feel?
Not in terms of raw power.
Right.
But in terms of what it can do.
Sure.
In terms of the experience you can have on it, it will feel more next gen than 8K visuals with frames per second and resolution, where the PS5 can also still.
Right.
But it decided to put that extra special sauce into something.
It's a little bit of magic. It's like a little something in the potion. Yeah. That
could change how we even view things. Now, Series X did this too, but not as much, which makes me think that multi-platform games will not get to that next level, but the first-party games will, which is already what happened. So I'm very curious, but then I could see Microsoft doing a mid-generation upgrade of their SSD and Sony doing a mid-generation upgrade of their raw power, and then meeting. And so like I don't know right now, but like that's kind of my gut.
Yeah.
So it's like Xbox didn't improve their. They added a headphone jack and slightly tweaked it. And
I'm sorry. Did the current generation Xbox controller not have a headphone jack?
No, they had to add that later.
You're kidding me.
Sony was the first one to do that.
Oh, that's so weird.
But they've done a lot of other things. This is not to bad, but like
I'm not. It's just like that's so crazy.
The Elite controller is currently the best controller.
Yeah, sure.
Like hands down, with like all the customizations and all you can do, like it's not even close. But if what the DualShock or the DualSense is going to do on a base level is just fundamentally something that's not like improving, but like a new dimension, kind of like with what the Wii did, it added motion, changed everything.
Yeah, completely.
Changed everything. The DS added touch, changed everything just in design and in how we think about things.
And then the Switch is just the perfect culmination of all of it.
It's bringing all that together, and the PS4 felt like that too.
Yes.
Bringing everything together.
And now we're past that. We're to a new thing.
Let's push it to something like, let's push it while also still keeping that. That's at least how I'm feeling. Series X feels like the perfect Xbox. Like, and some.
Yeah.
Like a perfect PC, and that's why I want it. But I'm not expecting to have some kind of like epiphany.
With the Xbox?
With the Xbox.
I don't know.
Flight Simulator, yeah, but they haven't shown that. At the end of the day, the reason I feel like that is because they haven't shown it. Sony proved it with this generation, with Horizon, with Spider-Man, with God of War. Xbox got their studios. They have people making games. I believe that's coming. This is going to be fun. Nintendo is firing on all cylinders. PlayStation, it seems like, is in the right place. This is it just keeps getting better.
It's like, I mean, I'm obviously a PlayStation fanboy. Like that's my go-to. Yeah. Like my dad was asking me the other day, we were watching the Imagineering story, and he was like, why is Disney just in every way just so much better? I'm like, like Six Flags, Knott's Berry Farm, like they're good theme parks, but like Disney just always does it better. I'm like, it's just magic. It's an unquantifiable like magic that you can't put your finger on, but it's just something that it has that sets it above. And not everyone feels that way about PlayStation. Obviously there's Xbox people and there's Nintendo people, but that was just my little attempt at a segue of talking about the Imagineering story. Possibly after the break,
Yeah, let's do it after the break.
because I have to pee.
Do it.
Quarantine cast is just the best.
Great.
Do you have anything
Pee
else to say
breaks.
about the controller?
No, I don't think so. This is like such a small thing. At the end of the day, most people might not even notice. But I'm super excited, and I can't wait to feel it. And I hope we get to feel it this year.
I do too. I'm okay if we don't, because I don't think it'll be too much later, but I hope we do.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit more about things that we played and watched right after this break.
Stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Jordan,
And I'm Ethan.
and you're listening to episode 32 of the Hebrew Rebels podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
What have you been watching and playing in this here time of quarantine?
Animal Crossing.
2020. Yep.
Yep. It's the Animal Crossing is life. There is no other life other than the life of Animal Crossing.
That's me in Warzone. I played
Yep.
Horizon like a tiny bit, and I'm still so ashamed, but
What do you
since
have in your
everything's
room?
getting delayed, I'm like, I have time. Like, it's okay. I'm
What
not
do you-
I'm not on crunch time anymore.
What's in your room?
In my
Did you
room?
decorate your room? Yeah, in Warzone.
In Horizon? Oh, in what?
No, in Warzone. Oh, can you not have a house in Warzone?
No, you can't. No.
Oh, you can have a house in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, it's
You can
definitely
decorate it.
Warzone is definitely inferior to
kidding.
Animal Crossing. You really can't even decorate your character that much.
No, but I still want to play Warzone, although I'm scared now.
I want you to
Because
play
you
it just so
said how
you
difficult it
understand.
is.
It's very hard. Yeah.
But I still want to. I need to be doing. Been thinking about it. I'm trying to ramp back into it, but I've been watching a lot of YouTube, clearing through that stuff. Like, I've had a lot of YouTube to catch up on, which is one of the dumbest sentences that exists. But
No, that's the world
my
we live
sad
in.
truth.
For real. Like, I add things to my watch later like every single day. The only thing is I forget to look at watch later. I forget to check that tab. I just go to like the channels that I want to see what they posted.
My YouTube homepage is in my brain is my watch later page. That's what I live on.
Okay.
My homepage with my recommendations is my secondary YouTube page, but my primary is my watch later, and I mainly subsist through that. Somehow adding recommended videos through videos I watch off my watch later.
Sure.
And then when I need something new, I just right click, open YouTube, and I usually can find a recommended video or channel video or something. And
you know how people scroll through the thousands of channels of TV and say there's nothing on?
yeah,
It is impossible to go through YouTube and not find something that you want to watch.
that's a really, really good comparison.
It is impossible.
That's so true. Like, you go through TV and you're like, I don't want to watch any of it. And you go on YouTube and you're like, I want to watch all of this.
It's like it's almost just think of it and someone's made a video about it.
Yep. At this point,
It's insane.
YouTube it's not quite there. It's almost become a Google.
Yes, 100%. Almost like
it's not
any
quite there.
any issue I have, you just YouTube it and
Well, that I would say that's probably already a thing. But like any question you have,
right.
somebody probably made a video explaining it in depth. There's probably a 30-minute video on why Cheetos and Cheez-Its and the differences between them. Like, there's probably an hour video on that.
I'm sure there's
honestly.
you told us the last time we were at Disneyland that Doritos originated there. I'm sure there's a whole video about the history of that.
Oh, for sure. I found out about it on a Disneyland video.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Craziness.
I love YouTube. YouTube is the reason I don't watch more movies. Like, straight up. At night when I'm going to
100%.
bed and like I'm in bed, I'm like, I could watch a movie right now, or I could watch 2.5 hours of YouTube. I always just go to YouTube. I don't know why. I love movies, but I feel so much more comfortable with YouTube.
It's easier to consume. You're not committing to something. That's what it is for me. I can watch 15 things or one. That's what my brain usually will at times commit.
True.
Now, I don't always want to watch 15 things, and so I'll be like, God, I just want to watch one thing. But the 15 things usually wins for some reason, because it's also like, I can just watch that for 3 minutes. And if I'm not into it, then I can watch that for 10 minutes.
Sure.
If I'm really into that, then I can watch that for 30 minutes.
You're not as committed.
Yeah. So there's a new service coming out. Did you hear about it? So I saw this thing called Quibi. Apparently,
Are you talking about
Polygon.
Quibi?
Quibi?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I probably am. My dad has actually worked on a Quibi show.
That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was just telling him the other night, Quibi is the future. I think Quibi will be a legit thing.
Oh, easily. I was like, never heard of this. What the hell is this? Click on the thing to read about it, and it's like short little things, and I see Queen Latifah and a couple other big celebrities, and I was like,
so many people.
They're doing professional YouTube. And that's why it made me think of that, because it's going to be things you can consume and in that YouTube style, but of a Netflix or HBO quality. Now, obviously, it's going to take time to get there, but that was my initial kind of gut, like, about what they're creating. Is that accurate? Do you know more about it?
I don't know much more about it, other than I've seen like a little bit of an episode or a couple episodes of one of the shows. But the fact that they've actually like branded the word, like Quibi is now, they're hoping Quibi becomes the word for like a short consumable episode, or like a little bite-sized nugget of something.
Okay. So you could almost like watch Quibis on YouTube.
Or like in the commercial, they're like, I'll be there in a Quibi. They're like, what does that mean? They're like, I'll be there in a few minutes. It's like,
they're being so, and then
I was trying to find the commercial, but I couldn't find the exact one. The commercial that they have on TV, it's legit like star after star after star after star after star. It's like, how did they get all these people? Where did they get that money?
There's somebody behind it that's paying for it.
So, I mean, my dad was working on this one show, and he showed me a little bit of it, and it was funny. And it was...
I'm sure it's going to work.
I don't want to say too much because I don't know if I can, but there were at least 3 main big actors in this one little bite-sized show.
That's
awesome. I think it's going to take off.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. My initial reaction, Quibi, what the hell? Somebody's really going to do another one? 20 seconds. I didn't even watch anything. I just kind of like looked, and I could gauge. I was like, the quality seems super high. There seems to be really solid investment behind it, and their premise of like short consumable content of very high quality with very high production value, I'm assuming. Right. I'm like, that doesn't exist yet. That's genius.
Think if it gets to the point where it's like an app like Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat, where it's like everyone has that app on their phone for the most part. If everyone has Quibi, and then everyone gets that notification that there's a new episode of this show, everyone's pulling out their phone and watching that and talking about it.
10 minutes to watch.
Yep. The entire world pauses and watches it.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah,
or 6 minutes or 10 minutes.
It's kind of genius.
More than a... Oh, it's super genius. It's immediately, I was just like, there it is. There's another one. There's another obvious idea. But me and you could never do anything with it. It required a massive entity to create something like this. So I'm down.
Sure. The only thing that I would...
start to come up with the Quibi idea.
I mean, what I just said is everyone watching it on their phones. Like,
no.
Like you said, it's
a content idea.
No, I know. But like you said, I think it is very high production quality.
Yeah.
Does it do it a disservice to watch it on your phone?
No.
Probably not, right?
Not now. It will be, because here's what, you don't put all your money into high quality effects that are enjoyed on huge TV. They will find a way to find that right production value, cost level, to where watching it on your phone is the premier. They know most people are going to be watching this on their phone, so they're going to design the content accordingly.
It's like
there's so much data.
They've taken the Vine and the TikTok mentality of just bite-sized snippets of entertainment and applied it to TV, and I think it's brilliant, and I really want to do well.
it's not going to be 15-second.
No, but
thing.
to scale, it's like they're okay. We don't have
That's
an
why
hour.
I think it's YouTube. That's why I think it's YouTube, because YouTube is like 5-6 minute videos, 10-minute videos, 12-minute videos.
But those aren't
8-minute
shows, like these are series.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. They're taking the consumption habit of YouTube
Yeah.
to Netflix.
True.
Like it's genius.
Yeah.
Because like even Netflix, which has caused people to binge watch. Right?
They don't have
Just
anything
when
shorter than 25 minutes on there.
Generally like it, and that a lot of the time is the reason I click YouTube over Netflix.
Yep.
Is because I'm like 5 minutes, 25 minutes.
Right.
Most of the time, I think subconsciously that's what's happening.
Right.
Quibi, I already can feel it in my gut that I'm going to be like, I can get good quality out of and not commit time. Boom, click.
Even if it's not that good, like I'll give it a try. Yeah. I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes.
Cost is going to be interesting. I'm very curious.
For sure.
How this is going to work. But, I thought I saw that they were, no. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm definitely intrigued by it.
Glad your dad was working on something and you knew about it. I just saw it today for the first time. So yeah, that's cool.
It's exciting. I've been watching a lot of comedy specials.
Nice. Yeah, I go through that in phases.
In the last week, I've watched 3 Bert Kreischer and 2 Tom Segura specials.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
5 specials?
Yeah. I was in the mood to laugh. Mm-hmm. Bert Kreischer.
I've never heard of him.
You haven't heard of him? I'm sure you've... I think you would recognize him. He used to be on Loveline. He came on a couple of times, and I remember... like his claim to fame is that he was in the Russian mafia when he was like in his 20s, because he went on a school trip to Russia and he could like drink everyone under the table. So he like met these mafia people and they fell in love with him and he became the Machine. That's kind of like his gimmick. And I remember him telling that story on Loveline. And then he had this show on like Discovery or something called Bert the Conqueror, where he would go and do like these big like crazy things in the world, like ride the biggest roller coaster or do the longest zip line and stuff like that. But I've never seen his comedy, and he's pretty funny. But
he looks familiar, but I don't think I know who he is.
He doesn't have that like natural, like he feels like he's trying a little too hard for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tom Segura, do you know him?
I definitely know. I've not watched any of his stuff, but I know him.
He is, for me, he is very funny. He's just very chill, very calm, and his facial expressions just slay me. It's not even what he's saying, it's just the way he says it. So I'm a big fan of him. Now, I've been watching comedy because Chris D'Elia has his new special coming out on, I think, the 12th or the 14th. So I'm just kind of getting my mind in that mindset for his new special.
I miss comedy shows.
I do too.
I miss just going to the mall for no reason.
Dude, it was so weird. The first Bert Kreischer one that I watched, it was in a smaller room. Like usually they're in like in a theater.
Arena or theater.
A theater, right? Or if you're Kevin Hart, it's in an arena.
Yeah.
I'm like, I recognize this room. And I'm like, I think that's the Irvine Improv. Now, I would imagine most improvs on the inside look generally similar.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've been in that room before. And I looked up where it was filmed, and it was the Irvine Improv. I'm like, that's where we saw Chris D'Elia on my birthday.
I want to go back there. I really want to go back there.
I do too.
For another show. Maya's never been there. We should all go to a show.
Comedy's so fun.
Yeah. And I haven't been to a show in ages. Did I tell you we drove... This was like a week or so ago when we went to get the desk from Maya's house. On the way back, I was like, I want to go drive through.
You want to go what?
Drive through LA.
Oh yeah.
Did I mention this too?
No.
So because being around here, it's like there's never people out anyways, so it doesn't necessarily look that different.
Right. Like
you can tell there's less cars, but like it's a holiday and like I was like, let's go somewhere where like there would definitely be. This was on a Sunday.
Sure.
And I was like, let's go somewhere where there would be a lot of people. So I was like, let's drive through LA. So we took the 110 to the 101, got off in Hollywood, drove down Sunset, popped over to Hollywood Boulevard. And it was cool too because I was like trying to orient myself. Where are we? See like Capitol Records and stuff. Literally looked up and it was right
And
there.
it's right there, yeah.
Like always, I love it when you find yourself in like, when you're like looking for something, you're like, wait, where is it? And you're like already in the spot.
Right.
And so, drove down Hollywood Boulevard, nothing. Just it was so weird. The only thing is homeless people, and they are living life because there's not people out.
No one to hassle them.
Like, exactly right. But to see nobody and every business closed down in the middle of the day on a Sunday, like that was the first like where you're like, oh, this is I'm not gonna have another opportunity in my life to see this.
I was watching a live YouTube video and it was this car driving through New York.
Dude, New York is crazy.
And it was driving through Central Park and then it like went into Times Square. The weird thing was Central Park, there was a lot of people.
Yeah, because people are exercising and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just people all right next to each other. But driving through Times Square, it was eerie.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
I'm trying to think where else we went. I don't think we went anywhere. It was mainly like Hollywood Sunset, just seeing people.
Right.
Other than people like running and homeless people.
Sure.
LA isn't like New York though, where there's constantly people.
Right.
And so that's so Casey, did you watch Casey's video?
So that's interesting. I actually thought about him the other day and I'm like, what are his videos like right now that he lives here? But I forgot to check.
His best friend you haven't been keeping up with his.
Dude, every time I want to keep up with Casey Neistat, I completely forget to. Okay, so have you watched any of his friends' videos?
No.
I'm subscribed to him on Instagram. He is so insanely creative.
Good for him.
What I need to remember his name, but continue. What were you gonna say?
He was saying how like he's like, man, to feel it, to just because New York is him. He is New York. New York is like that was the place. Like that's I get he has that connection to that city. That's like hard to describe. And so he wants to feel that because, like, he was there on 9/11. He knows what that felt like.
Right.
He wants to know, but at the same time, he's also glad he's not there.
Right.
Because one, New York apartments, very small. Can't really go out. Can't really go out. Like, it's hard to do that. And so being in LA where he surf and like I don't know if you can still surf, but where he can, go out and still be away from people. Like I'm very, very happy to through this and not in New York City. And I just thought, I was like, whoa, like when he said like, and he FaceTimed like his friend and he was like, dude, there's nobody.
Right.
Like nobody is here.
Are you talking about his friend Dan?
Crazy. So he had one in New York.
Is he South African?
That's the friend that got sick.
Yeah. He had coronavirus, right? Yeah. So like he actually just posted a video on Instagram today. He and his fiance were supposed to get married.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, he's so creative. He made like cardboard cutouts of a bunch of people and like put them in all these seats. And then they put an iPad on top of a cardboard cutout of a person that was like their minister. Yeah. And they got married in their backyard. And they're like, screw you, coronavirus. We're doing this anyways.
There you go.
We
can't even do that because we can't get a marriage license.
That's upsetting. Now, to be fair, this may have just been the novelty of it.
Social media.
They may not officially be married, but
I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
Because that's for social media views then.
That's what he is though. I mean he's a content creator. Casey has had so many different I don't even know, man.
Keeps going, man.
He definitely does. I don't know. He puts me off sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. He's a lot
to like aspire to. Like I think he is the prime example of like a vlogger.
He's a person, right? Like and he is who he is. I'm not him.
Exactly. I don't think he's being fake at all.
No, you watch his videos and you're like, his life is amazing, and but it's also him. And like, if you tried to emulate that, like
Right.
it would be exhausting.
100%.
I'm not motivated like he is.
The fact that he just wakes up and he's like, yeah, I'm taking this Arab Emirates flight on the most expensive single room thing just because they gave it to me, and I'm just going to fly to Abu Dhabi and then come back the next day just because for this video. It's like, what?
That sounds amazing.
You have a family though. Like, how do you just
also,
do
like,
this?
I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
I want to, like, when I'm going on this big trip that I've planned my whole life, I want to be in the best seat. But that's not going to happen. If somebody was just like, go fly on it and do a video, I'd be like, that's amazing. But also, like, I'd rather just have it when I'm actually going somewhere, so it could just be nicer.
Not for the stress of making, like, the best video possible, you know?
Yeah, which is literally what it's about. So it's like, I'll just enjoy your videos.
Exactly.
Like, but I'm with you where, like, where you're like, damn, this guy, he's inspiring, but also intimidating, but also
very
like,
intimidating.
He's just a content creator.
I want to watch everything he does
creator.
because it's so well done, but I can't. It
doesn't-
pushes me away naturally.
You know, he's not producing at the same volume, right? He's not a vlogger anymore.
Well, but he changes all the time. He goes from, like, being a vlogger every day to I'm stepping back from YouTube completely to I'm back now to I'm doing this company and I'm focusing on this, but now I'm moving to LA and now I'm a vlog. It's like, dude, first of all, live your life. Live your life. Do exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't keep up with his routine.
I stepped away when he was doing the back and forth from vlogging.
Right.
And then I re-jumped in when he was prepping to move to LA because now he every 3 weeks, every one a month.
Right.
Like, maybe he'll do one a week, but, like, no, they're, like, spaced out. So it's like when I see a new Casey Neistat video pop up, I know that's 10 minutes of my time once. Like,
it's crazy because, like, he's not a YouTuber. Like, that's not his life. That's not his job.
No. So I watch his new videos to be like, hey, what's he up to? He's living in LA now. I wonder what he's doing.
Right.
And but it's different than before, for sure.
Like, I still remember the first video that you sent me of him. And it was like some company gave him $1 million to go and make the best video in 24 hours or like something like that.
I remember that one, yeah.
And I was just like, whoa.
Dude, I remember when I found him.
Someone's life is actually like this.
Yeah. It captivates you. You're like,
you're
like, what am I doing? Like, I could be doing that. I could just get up and just go do that stuff. I don't view him that way anymore.
Right. I feel like he's exploded, like, exponentially since then even. But
has he really?
I think so.
You see, and I lose touch with that because it's just like he's the same to me. And he's the same to him, I assume.
Sure.
But the aura around it, not.
I don't know. Vloggers, I used to admire vloggers in a sense, but now they rub me the wrong way a little bit. And I'm not calling him a vlogger. It's just that vlog life. It's like he would go on vacations with his wife because they're like, we just need to get away. You know, we need a vacation. Yet I'm documenting the entire thing and making a video about it. It's like, don't you have any time that you're not just pointing a camera at something? And I'm not saying him necessarily, but a lot of vloggers, they're just always have a camera in their hand and like, here's my life. And that seems so exhausting.
I know, because like, when I went to Japan, I recorded not everything.
But that's for you. Like, obviously you want to edit that content, and you will someday. But it's not a crunch to edit it to put a video out the next day.
So that's what he's not doing anymore.
But I know, but I'm just talking about vloggers in general. I'm not even talking about him. Just that vlog life of like, I have to get good content today so I can make a good video tomorrow. It's like, oh,
you're living your life from the perspective of content at that point. That's scary.
Because then are you even having fun, or are you just worried like, is this good content or not?
Yeah. Is it real? So, but you got to figure out that balance.
For sure.
So
that's just another example of how YouTube has become so insane. That didn't used to be a thing.
What is the topic even at this point?
What we're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is what I love though. I love when we get on.
No, I'm like, wait, how did we get?
I don't even know how Casey came up. What else have you been watching? Anything else? Or have you
We watched episode 2 of The Imagineering.
Nice. Oh yeah. Oh, I teased Imagineering Story. That's right. What do you think of it?
But I mean, so I've watched a lot of documentaries to this point now on Disney and whatnot. So so far it's an interesting perspective because like all the like Disneyland and Walt and Roy and all of that, like I've watched like individual documentaries on each of those events, and so seeing it from like a surface level, like broken out, there were a few things like that I learned for the first time, but what I really enjoyed was seeing all the content or the footage, because I think a lot of this is like new, like documented footage, and seeing it in the quality, and like I'm like that's what it has me just completely like engaged.
I'm always so amazed how
whereas
how like even so long ago they're like, we need to film everything we can. You know, they didn't make a documentary out of this footage 60 years ago, but they have it now so they can, and I think that's really cool.
It's interesting. It's just like the Apollo
Apollo, exactly. That was the other one. It's like, why do they have all this footage inside Houston or whatever, Mission Control?
Yeah. Weirdly, like that's kind of how these vloggers feel. Like, not to like tie that back to that, but it's like I know we've talked about that of like having video recording of life as you do.
100%.
It makes me feel better. And it's like, deal with it later. Like, worry about it later. We're living it now. Other people can like put it into context later.
Sure.
Obviously, that's not what we're doing. We're literally taking it and putting it into context now. Not all of it.
But that's what vloggers do differently, is they have to make something out of it right now.
Immediately.
Whereas, you know, Apollo is 50 years later. Disney is 60 plus years later. You know, it's like, it's good that they had that stuff for us to make something out of it later.
Yeah.
Even after Walt is long, long gone.
Dude, you want to talk about? We talked about in. I won't tie it to that. I was gonna say movies and stuff like. I know he's dead. I've watched many things about his death, and still, it's like emotional, and it makes me sad when they get to the part where he died, and I'm just like, why does he have to be dead?
I know. Is it because he was gone sooner than he necessarily could have been? Like,
no,
he died. It's somewhat young.
Like,
you know, like
it's just when you're living through that, and you're listening to the people like really be like, yeah, we lived through that, and it was really sad. Like, people had to live. He had to like.
It's because Walt was an all-time history of the world special human.
Yeah,
it's just like I mentioned earlier, he brought a magic to the world, even just with like his presence. You know, like he was.
It makes me sad because it makes you see how like once he was gone, he was gone, right? Like there's nobody even there now. At the end of the day,
I would say and you'll see once you watch more episodes, I think they've done a really good job of trying to hold on to as much of that spark as possible.
Yep.
But it definitely has been slipping away, and is maybe slipping away like more and more, you know, like with different things that happen.
The issue is that the further those degrees of separation become, the higher the surface level attributes become, or the dominance of that, because there's this heart in life that you just get from being with something in person, rather than watching something or being told about it. And so the farther you get away from that, like that real experience, like he was a real person walking.
Yeah.
He grew up, he experienced things, he was creative, he had ideas, he had his brain and his soul, and at the end of the day, nobody's, you know, and he inspired so many people. He made all of this possible. Like, he didn't do it himself. Like that's what's so crazy, right? Like all these other people made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, Walt was formed by certain people the way he forms other people, you know, like it all stems from somewhere, but
the biggest thing for me the splitting point is what Epcot was supposed to be, what he wanted Epcot to be, and
Sure.
what Epcot became. It became another theme park, right? They took the essence of Disney and extended the theme parks. He was trying to change the world. He changed the world with the theme parks. Everybody else took that at the surface level of theme parks. It's like, nah, he was trying to change humanity.
Right.
And he never got to achieve that. That's the part that makes me sad.
Was that Project X? Is that what we've talked about in our
That
like
was
Minecraft
Epcot.
world? But I think wasn't it like codenamed like Project X or something where it was like it was a city.
Yes. They talked about that in episode 1.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder what could have happened.
Because you always, or at least I've heard that Walt, like on his deathbed would look at the ceiling and try and like plot out Epcot. It's like, it's not what Epcot is today. He was trying to envision that city of tomorrow.
He was trying to think, how can people live in a better way? It's such a simple concept. It's such a simple concept, and it's not something that we don't design from that direction.
Right.
He was trying to design and
he wasn't thinking about it making money either.
No. I mean, you
it naturally would.
Money, but I've heard a lot of people say it was never possible. So it's one of those things where it's like maybe it's better it went this way because it's this pipe dream that was never actually going to happen.
That's what I was thinking. Like it was very ambitious,
but at the same time, so is Disneyland.
True.
And we take that for granted now. We didn't
very
live
much so.
Through it. We didn't live through it not existing, and so it's like I wonder. It's like that's the part that makes me wonder is if that person was alive, can it happen?
Right.
So just as if like all of these workers at SpaceX and Tesla are doing amazing work and making this stuff happen, if Elon Musk poofed, does that end flag distance shorten?
Yeah, 100%.
That ambition and it's the same thing with Apple.
I think so.
With Steve Jobs, like Apple is still making quality products, like great stuff, but it just doesn't feel like when the iPhone came out.
The goal line isn't as far away as it was when Steve Jobs was alive. It's like
it's a practical goal line now.
It's because you're trying to recreate what they were instead of having that natural imagination. It's like Walt can see so much farther than what people trying to be Walt can think.
Yeah.
It takes them so much longer to catch up to what they think he was than for him to actually think it.
And then go the 10 extra steps beyond that
to actually get there. Yeah.
That's life though. And that's why we jump and move and we go and we just keep going. We have a lot of amazing people and a lot of special people.
But I mean, yeah, like it's not something to be that upset about. Like we're lucky that we've had Walt and Elon and Steve. Like
and Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla and come around.
Right.
Helped us, advance. And there's a lot of people out there today that it's just it's fun to think about.
It's very fun.
Walt Disney's one of my favorite people, easily.
100%. Have you watched Walt before Mickey?
Yes. So that's where I learned, probably was when I watched a bunch of I forgot I did.
Yeah.
It was like 2 or 3.
That was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, he came from close to nothing.
Yeah.
I really did. Like, I mean, he had a life, and then he left that to come to California with nothing.
Yeah, that's what you did back then.
And he built all this. It's so impressive.
It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah, it is. And the relationship that him and his brother had, oh my God, every time. I knew it was coming. I knew Maya didn't know it was coming because she was learning. See, and it was interesting because she was learning about a lot of this for the first time.
Yeah.
And God, they like, yep, and Roy, and then died 3 months after or whatever, and it's just like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's that's amazing to me. Just that they're brothers. They're in business for 42 years together.
Yep.
Walt dies right before this next dream happens, on the cusp of Roy's retirement. He says, I'm not going to retire and walk away and spend. I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to making this. and then would die right after. Like
That's how like tied at the at the hip they were like.
So what I love that they said in the Imagineering, he said they think or they could that was the happiest time of like his life.
Who's Waltz or
Roy.
Royce? Yeah.
Roy at the end doing that.
Yeah.
And that I don't remember hearing. Stuck. I was like, wow, like he's not upset that he's giving this up.
Right.
It's the ultimate.
It's his.
That's.
It's his like honor to be able to take that forward. Yeah. I'm excited for you to watch the rest. I finally finished it.
Me too. Are there more coming still, or do we have?
I think I've heard that there are. I think, like I mentioned last week, like I want to see an episode on what we're currently going through. I want to see how Disney is handling this. No. I want to see the transition from Bob Iger to the next guy.
That's 60 years from now.
It'll be a much more zoomed in episode for sure. And honestly, the episodes do get that way. Like it starts much more spread out, and then it starts dragging itself into certain things as the episodes go on. But you'll learn something in every single one. Yay. You'll see things that you didn't know existed in every single one.
Oh, I was so happy, even though I knew it. See it again when they went in. And I knew it was coming.
When they
went up into the Matterhorn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I knew it was coming, but I was still just like, they got me excited. I was like, he's going to do it. And I was still, part of me was just like,
I'm pretty upset I never got to go in there.
Bucket list. I need to make a basket in the Matterhorn.
That would be awesome. There's that.
Do you think Kobe ever made it up there? I feel like Kobe had to have made it.
I want to say no.
Really?
For some reason. Yeah. You'd think you would have heard or seen that, Nah,
you keep that on the DL. You keep that kind of thing on the DL.
I would love it. I would.
That's the
kind
of thing where a cast member's just like, "Hey, Kobe, I want to bring you up here."
Right. Yes. True. Because every cast member's job is to make magic. Magic Johnson. Maybe Magic Johnson was up there.
Does that mean Magic's parents were cast members?
Because they made magic. Title of the episode: Let's Make Magic.
There it is.
All right.
Hey man, what did we say? PlayStation magic.
Yep, that's been the through line.
This is going to be some magic. Pixar magic. It's just this is what the world needs right now. Like I so unabashedly do not feel bad about all of this stuff that we indulge in, because like life's just fun with all of it.
Yeah, completely.
It's just, I love it.
And
that's what we're all about.
We're consumers at heart, and that's how we connect with each other.
Consumers.
Yeah.
That's such a depressing term.
I know, but I think as a whole, that's what we are.
We're appreciators.
Appreciators. Yeah. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you and this
and
podcast.
I appreciate all of you listening and or watching this here podcast.
Whenever and wherever that may be.
It could be in the future. It could be tomorrow.
Dude, what if, and this is the crazy thing that makes me lose my shit. We are the most popular people on the planet 1,000 years from now.
Yeah.
Because the word Huber became through the evolution of language, and they like some crazy stupid shit like that.
Right.
It's just like, we definitely do. That's not supposed to matter.
Right.
But it does.
Well, I mean, the dictionary adds a new word or two every single year. So like.
Is it in there?
I don't know. It's a pronoun at the moment, but what if it became an actual word, a verb or a noun or something, or an adjective?
That's my goal.
And like you say, hundreds of years from now, that's what all the pre-millennials are saying.
Can you believe they changed the word for penis to Huber?
Hey, touch my Huber. And then we're the most famous podcast.
Yep. The penis rebels.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching and or listening to this. You can watch us on YouTube on our YouTube channel. You can listen to us on Apple and more streaming services to come in the future. We do Rebels React videos. We just did one for Onward, and we're doing the Clone Wars at the moment. But until next time, nope. I got nothing else. My name is Jordan.
And my name is Ethan. We are the Huber Rebels.
You were going to say it, weren't you?
Thought about it.
Do it.
Welcome to the Rebellion.
Yeah.